Thank you, everybody, for joining this webinar. My name is Tom Hayes. I'm from Opsview. I'm responsible for marketing. You have joined What to Do When IT Alerts Fail. This is a webcast sponsored by Opsview as well as OnPage. And with me today is Roger Hoskins, who runs sales and marketing as well as alliances with OnPage. Roger, are you out there?
I am here. Thank you very much, Tom. It's delightful to be here.
Good. Great. Thank you for joining, Roger. And we have an exciting webcast today, and I'm going to jump right into the agenda, and then we'll get into a little bit of information. But first, we'll talk about who we are and why we're talking about this today. We'll talk about the issues. We'll talk about monitoring and why monitoring is crucial. We'll then move into old messaging and why it's risky, getting the right people on the job, completing the loop. This will be a demonstration, and we have Alex from OnPage. This is Alex Berkson, who will be doing the demonstration showing how Opsview and OnPage work together. That really will be the highlight of the presentation today. And then we'll have a summary and wrap up and then open it up for questions. Just a few logistics for the meeting. One, everybody's been put on mute, so please stay on mute. If you have questions, feel free to jump right in on the chat area on WebEx, ask your question, and we'll do our very best to get to all of those questions. And with that, let's jump right into the material. The first thing I want to talk about is Opsview and who we are. We've been around, over 10 years now. We have a global footprint. We're headquartered in Reading, UK, but we have offices in India as well as here right in Woburn, Massachusetts, where I am. We have over 60,000 Opsview customers. These include a wide range of customers, including Harvard Law, MIT, iRobot, Cisco, VMware, just a range of customers around the world that are all good customers. And in fact, last night, we had a new office opening here in Woburn, Massachusetts. We have expanded pretty dramatically in the U.S. Over the past year, doubled the size of the company here, and we needed bigger, nicer offices. And in fact, Roger, you joined us last night for the celebration.
I did, thank you, and beautiful offices, testament to your growth, and you're going to have to update your picture. You got a much snazzier building to go in that top picture now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we're now at the 300 Trade Center building. That's right. Update the picture. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Thank you, Roger. But we had a good time, and we had a few of our customers here. Harvard Law was here, Sharif, and a few other good customers were there. So it was great to have Roger, a good partner, join us. And it was a lot of fun last night. So thanks, Roger. And we have a strong professional services, or our customer success team, as we call them, as well as we are aggressively rolling out a couple of releases a year. I'll talk a little bit about that as we get more into Opsview. But Roger, let me turn it over to you to talk about OnPage, and I suspect your photos are all updated.
Yeah, they're pretty much up to date. Thanks a lot, Tom. OnPage is a leader in what we call priority round-trip IT alerting. We've been in business for a little bit longer than you have, over 12 years now. And our award-winning technology is used by over 10,000 users worldwide. We are a cloud-based, very scalable and highly secure mobile messaging system used by healthcare, IT, government, finance, and a variety of other institutions. We'll look at a few of those as examples later. We're also global. Our headquarters is in Waltham, Mass., just outside of Boston and down the road from the North American headquarters of Opsview. We also have facilities in Milwaukee and in Tel Aviv, Israel. And our products are provided to all of our customers worldwide via our direct sales team. We also have a growing network of authorized partners that service, sell, and support our products worldwide.
Terrific. This is a great quote, Roger, and I know you came up with this quote, so I'm going to turn this right over to you. Talk about this quote.
Sure. I can't say that I came up with it. I can say that I discovered it and I thought it was illustrative of what we're trying to show people today. This is from Harvey Mackay. He's the CEO of a successful stationery, envelope, and packaging company located in Cincinnati, Ohio. Actual former customer of mine many years ago when I was with IBM. And Harvey made a good point in a blog that he sent out some time ago that was also published in the Cincinnati Enquirer. And he said, you can't fix what you don't know is broken. And I think that's very important as we talk today. What we're really talking about is not only helping IT organizations know what issues are within their company's IT infrastructure, but also how you then act upon it. And, you know, without the ability to do the kind of monitoring that you're going to talk about in a moment with Opsview, coupled with the kind of critical messaging that we're going to show added on to Opsview, it's pretty difficult in today's environment to know and react to issues that can really cripple your business.
Yeah, as you say, Roger, even if you know something's going on and you're at a risk condition or worse, you have a failure, unless we're getting that information to the right smart folks that can fix it, we just have too much downtime, which we'll talk about here as we go through this. So I thought this was very interesting, and again, apropos to what we're talking about today. Here are the top 5 tech spending increases in 2015, according to Computer World, and you can see that it's cloud computing, security, business analytics, read, big data, storage, etc., mobile wireless. All of these things are growing dramatically, and I didn't even include Internet of Things, which was right behind us, but it's tremendous changes happening. What it means to everybody out there is increasing complexity. It's more difficult and to be able to monitor everything that's going on in your changing environments. It also means increasing importance. What business is still in business if their IT critical applications are down? So the challenges are that much greater every day, every year in our industry, especially for the IT systems administrators, network managers, directors of management, directors of operations, all the folks that we have on the call here. It's just increasingly more challenging. And downtime. You know, this is interesting, and what I put in here for everyone on the call is about 5 different reports, good references for downtime. The Aberdeen Group does some very good work here. Gartner, of course, does some excellent work. IDC, Infonetics. A lot of the industry analysts out there talk about downtime. I happen to have grabbed some information that I like in particular that relates to downtime, and this is the Aberdeen report. And of course, the downtime for industries vary, but in this particular report, and I grabbed the mid-sized enterprise number here. This is for companies that generally are 1,000 employees to 5,000 employees, give or take. Actually, I guess this one runs down to 100, just checking my notes. So it goes to 100 to upwards to the thousands of employees. But the downtime cost range for $74,000 per hour, and that's for 12 hours of downtime per year. It's typically what mid-sized enterprises see. So it's incredibly expensive. So a mid-sized enterprise would see over $880,000 in cost of downtime. If you're a large enterprise, Aberdeen Group would say this is over $1 million as you get to be, if you're a small business, less than 100 employees, even there, it's $10,000 to $25,000 of downtime per hour. So it's expensive. Employees lose productivity. It affects revenue and business at the top line. It affects the service that customers are receiving, et cetera. So downtime is very expensive, and it plays right into the conversation that we're having today because most of the companies on this call can't afford downtime, which means must have answers to keeping services up and running. Roger, did you want to add anything to this? I know you've done a lot of work on the downtime as well.
You really nailed one of the primary reasons that a lot of people talk to OnPage about raising the level of criticality of messaging to alerting. And imagine right now, at this time of year, if you're an online retailer, you could be talking $1 million an hour, let alone $1 million a year if you have an issue with your e-commerce system.
Oh yeah, I mean the story. I get a chance to talk to customers often, as I know you do, and when you get into this question and you talk about mission critical applications, you know there is a very interesting conversation about the almost and the issues, and this application went down. It is just crucial for companies today. I'm going to just talk about monitoring for a minute and the monitoring challenges. The top three things we hear is all about the chart I showed a minute ago about the changes in the expanding network environment, the new applications, the new services, the cloud services, the mobility, big data, etc. And it's increasingly difficult to manage all of that, understand what's going on, and be able to pinpoint, ideally, a risk condition as opposed to an out-and-out failure. Many companies we talk to today have good redundancy, they have backup and recovery, so they have a lot of things in place to make sure they try to minimize that downtime. But if anything's happening, ideally there's a notification well ahead of time. The second thing, and this is exactly what we're talking about today, is notification methods. Many of our customers today use advanced notification messaging approaches to make sure that those messages get through, and it's crucial to make sure that the right person gets the right information so they can take the right action. And then the last thing we hear most often is that I need a monitoring solution that's supported. Sometimes there's solutions out there and they are not well supported by the vendor like Opsview. Opsview provides excellent support. We'll talk about that in a moment. But if you want to manage a new cloud service, want to add new infrastructure, look at a new application, build out your business service monitoring and understand how it relates to the services that are being delivered to the business, you may have a question for the support team and you want to be able to get to the support team. So these are the three things that come up most often. And the three reasons that people tell us that they choose Opsview, just to lay a foundation here for monitoring. One is we have a number of high-value product capabilities. Two is our support from the Opsview customer success team. We have an over 90% satisfaction rating, and we do what's called an NPS, or Net Promoter Score. We ask everyone to come back and provide feedback on how are we doing. We're very thrilled that we get that kind of a number. The last one is particularly interesting, and this came through in a survey that we did recently. It's our IT sysadmin, State of the IT Sysadmin Report, and you can get that right on opsview.com/resources and be able to get to that ebook. But it's interesting to see that people that have great monitoring solutions have a better work-life experience because they can move more quickly, they can be more efficient, they're providing more value to the business, and they free up time to work on interesting IT projects and actually become more strategic. So all of that was fairly interesting, and I'm just going to delve into each of these areas quickly. The first one is the monitoring capabilities, flexible. That means you can manage anything and everything in your environment. We have a range of plugins to allow you to do that. Very intuitive. Very quickly you can get to the information that you're looking for with a click, 2 clicks, 3 clicks most often, and be able to understand what's going on in the environment, get the information you need. It's intelligent. We just don't throw alerts over the wall. They are intelligent alerts to tell you information and let you know when you really have a risk condition or an actual outage. It's secure. This is crucial today. Administrators of IT monitoring systems have access to an awful lot of information. They need, and an awful lot of systems out there, it needs to be a secure access with very good passwords, and don't show passwords in clear text, et cetera, et cetera. So it must be secure, and it must be at the service level. That is to say, it's nice to look at all the infrastructure that's out there that we're all trying to monitor, but let's look at it from a service perspective and understand how it impacts services. So those are the crucial things that we do with Opsview, and then we cover a range of infrastructure, whether it's network or virtual environments, operating systems. We look at the app layer, middleware. We'll look at databases and storage, servers, mainframes. We touch basically anything that you're working on, we can touch it. New cloud services, we can manage them. And we have very good relationships with an awful lot of partners. And you see at the bottom of this slide, OnPage, a good recent partner with a nice recent new integration that shows how Opsview and OnPage working together to help minimize downtime and deliver better services. So we cover all of these things. So this is one reason customers choose Opsview. The second reason, as I said, is the 90%. Here's a quote from Mike Norton, our IT operations manager at JobSite. And Mike is very pleased with the support that he gets from Opsview, and we get this a lot. But generally, we're getting a rating of greater than 90% because we're proactive. When someone calls Opsview, they get an expert. We don't have Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. Oftentimes, we're dealing with systems administrators, IT administrators, who are very technical, very knowledgeable, and the folks need to be speaking to an expert. We have a knowledge center, which we've actually completely updated in our latest release. This is our release 5.0, which shows a wealth of information, so many customers are self-service knowledge center. Training is very highly rated, and we deliver services on demand. So we have a number of implementation services that are standardly available, as well as we do an awful lot of professional services and custom work depending upon what our customers need. So we get high ratings for that. So that's the second reason. And then finally, better work-life and career advancement. Again, this came through loud and clear in our sysadmin survey. It was very interesting to see the correlation between people who are earning over, in this case, we drew a line at $75,000. But folks earning more than $75,000 were more strategic versus folks earning less than $75,000. And it was a very interesting conversation, a very interesting set of feedback. Again, if you want to read more about that, you can look at that sysadmin report on our website. It's a nice ebook, quick read, very useful. But sysadmins that can be more efficient, get more strategic, involved in more IT projects, are providing more value to the business, and it's helping them personally advance their careers. So that was a quick overview of Opsview and the monitoring capabilities and why we're having such success. And we've earned a brand new office, and we're growing so well around the world, particularly in the U.S. So that's the Opsview story, but I want to turn it over to Roger to talk about our good partner, OnPage.
Thank you, Tom. So I'm going to take just a few minutes so that we can get to the demonstration that you've all, I think, really signed on to see today to help put it in context and give you a little bit more about what we are. And I think the way to look at OnPage and what we do for people and for the systems that they use is summarized here by Washington Irving. Not a customer, unfortunately. He died before we founded the company. However, he did make a quote to his son in a letter once, which he said, "A barking dog is more useful than a sleeping lion." And I think what we've seen today shows that Opsview's ability to monitor is incredibly powerful and gives you the ability to understand when things are going on in your infrastructure. But what we add to that is the barking dog. We add the ability to take what you get in Opsview from an alerting point of view and make sure that people know about it and can act upon it. So let's take just a quick method of looking at some of the things that we use today. This is what our customers, when they call us, have typically been using when they want to notify people of IT incidents. And unfortunately, while we use them widely, there are problems with each one of them. And this is what some of the people tell us and some of the studies show. Email is one of the most common ways of communicating. We've all gotten the "I'm sorry I lost your email" excuse, but more important than that is that an astounding 20% of emails never even reach the inbox. So that's stunning. If you're relying on email as a way of notifying individuals of important events, time-critical events, and you know that 2 of 10 are never even going to make it, I think it's something to rethink in terms of how much you rely upon it. Secondly is good old texting, which is the limited bandwidth communication capability favored by teenagers worldwide and by all of us. And in fact, we now, on the average, receive an astounding 100 or more texts per day. And the combination of emails and text on our phone is what we at OnPage refer to as clutter. And the more clutter that there is, the more difficult it is for you to understand the importance of messages that you're receiving via text or email. And then lastly, there's the good old phone system, unfortunately, it seems that we are regressing. Our phones are smarter than ever, have more capability than ever, but when it comes to communicating to each other via voice, it is now up to an average of 4 calls before we complete a conversation. So that tells you that each one of these become risky when we rely on them to communicate critical alerts necessary for action. So what we provide is what we call an intelligent priority round-trip alerting on smartphones. So we enable mobile devices with our capability. Can you go back one there? We skipped ahead just one. Okay, great. And we provide the ability that's unique of escalating messages and alerts that go out over our network to mobile devices until read, meaning it is persistent and persuasive, and you will ultimately need to respond to alerts that come to you via OnPage on your phone. It isn't just until it is sent and received, it is until read. So we have an excellent capability of assuring that people get the information. We can send message individually. We can create groups that can represent people who are on call, who might be following the sun or be after hours. There's a lot of capability for scheduling these people to make sure that the right people are getting alerts at the right time. And we have failover capabilities that let, if no one receives a message, that lets someone important in the organization or the customer know that we're having difficulty getting the message out to the right people. Most importantly, and we're going to see some of that today, is the ability to have a detailed audit trail of all messages and notifications that go out through the OnPage system and their ultimate receipt and resolution. Cloud-based makes us secure, very reliable. We are 5 nines reliable. Compare that to 2 out of 10 emails never reaching the inbox. And we're highly scalable from a few users to thousands. We're going to see one of our out-of-box integrations in a couple of minutes with Opsview, but we also provide, through our API and our integration framework, the ability to work with a wide variety of mission-critical systems. So quickly, what are the components? Well, we are cloud-managed, secure mobile applications on a variety of different mobile devices. We provide a secure OnPage inbox. This is separate from everything else going on in your device. From our medical history, we are HIPAA compliant. That gives you some indication of how well we protect privacy and information through our secure communication channels. This separate inbox also makes sure that you rise above that clutter I mentioned before. Everyone knows when they receive an OnPage notification, and it is not in any way confused with the text from your loving spouse asking whether you're going to make it home for dinner on time. There's the ability to send, receive, reply, and forward messages right from the mobile device. Very persistent alerts. We'll keep trying for up to 8 hours. And we override phone settings. One of the most common things we get is people say, how can you make sure that my staff is going to receive their message when they put the phone on mute? Fear not, OnPage has solved that issue, and we have people who have actually called saying they both love and hate us. They love us because we work, and they hate us because we wake them up in the middle of the night. You also have the ability to sync all your OnPage contacts so you can message anybody that's in your enterprise. On the right side, we control all this, and you, as a user, control all this through a web console. Allows you to set up your users, manage your profiles. As you'll see, we can track what's going on from an audit trail regardless of the source of messages. We can actually dispatch from that and set up our escalations and other things. Now, one of the ways I like to really help you understand OnPage is how we're used, and we're used in a wide variety of companies worldwide. Children's Hospital uses us to support their medical staff, so doctors, nurses, emergency staff rely on OnPage for critical messaging within a hospital environment. American Airlines uses us for a large number of IT staff in the hundreds that are communicating to each other on issues related to IT. Major consulting firms like Accenture will use us to support their outsourcing staff that supports their clients. We're also used by MSPs in a number of places around the world who not only use it for their own internal IT support staff, but they also provide us as a service for their clients so they can set up and manage alerting as a service on our platform for their customers. And we even have a wide number of professional answering services worldwide who have integrated us with their systems and their telephony systems and use us to provide effectively pager replacement for their customers. So you can see the breadth of how OnPage can be applied to different notification and alerting scenarios. So finally, after all this talking, we get to seeing a little bit. Before I turn the presentation over to Alex Berkson on our customer success team, who's going to show you a live demonstration, let me tell you a little bit about what you're about to see. What we have done is, once again, we rely on Opsview to do the monitoring and telling us what are the things that are worthy of being elevated to a critical alert. And when an incident is created in Opsview that is critical in nature, which you set as a user, that will automatically use OnPage as the notification method to all the proper on-call resources. And it could be one or many people, depending upon how you've set that up, as to who needs to be notified. It could be a group, could be an escalation group, it could be a single individual. Today, I think Alex will be showing 2 individuals being alerted to an incident in Opsview. And what's important compared to a lot of outbound-only tools is the feedback that we provide with our round-trip alerting. And you'll see how these messages are fed back to the Opsview system so that people can respond and take action. And we'll also show you through the console how you can see the entire audit trail of the alert associated with that incident. And in the end, how we can assure that the incident is addressed. Okay, so Tom, if you wouldn't mind handing over the screen sharing to Alex. This is a lot. Okay.
Sorry, I'm going to hand this right over to Alex. And there we are, Alex. So, Alex, you now have the ball, Alex. And let me make sure I've got Alex unmuted here. Would it be better if we unmute Alex, Roger?
Sure.
Alex, hopefully we can hear you now. Alex, you've got the ball, and I've got you unmute.
All right.
And I don't see Alex's screen yet. I don't know if he has to do anything to say share the screen.
You should be share. You should share your screen, Alex. Just click on the share the screen button there.
It said sharing.
It says sharing because I'm not. Oh, here it comes, Alex.
Here it comes. Did it again. Had to do it again, I guess.
Yeah. No problem. So, I'm gonna do a bit of the narration. Alex will chime in when he needs to correct the sales and marketing guy for technical issues. Keep in mind that we are not the experts in Opsview. If you have any questions about Opsview, there are Opsview individuals online that can talk about that as well. And we're not going to be giving a full demonstration of either Opsview's capability or OnPage today. Both have extensive feature sets that we're hoping you'll find interesting and want to explore in a personal follow-up demonstration. Today we're going to concentrate on just one use case scenario. And what we are looking at right now is the Opsview monitoring dashboard. And we have set up some servers that we're monitoring, just a few. If he goes to the right on example service and clicks the box, what you'll see is a status pop up on the bottom that tells us at the moment that these servers are up, everything is fine, we're in good shape, and so at the moment we're all very happy. But what we're going to do is throw the proverbial wrench in the works, and Alex is going to take one of these servers offline. He's going to do it right here live. So Alex, why don't you go ahead and kill that server. He's going to log in and stop the server, and the Opsview monitoring is going to notice that in short order, and we're going to take a look at that and see that a notification is done. Here we see right here at the top, Alex is pointing out that this service is now gone to critical. And when it goes to critical, we've set up the system through our integration. This is the API of Opsview communicating with the API of OnPage, and an alert has gone out. And Alex is going to bring up a reflector screen of his iPhone. This is live, and you'll see we have a new message here from the OnPage web API. This actually is direct from the Opsview monitoring system. And if you could open that up, we'll look at the top there, Alex, and we'll see that we've got a critical notification in our inbox here. Alex is going to open that up, and here we have all of the information that Opsview has provided to OnPage, and this can be something that can be customized going forward, but we've taken a snapshot of the situation that has created this critical incident. That has been automatically put into the OnPage alert and has been sent out to two people, which we'll see in a moment who they are, and it allows Alex to, within seconds, actually receive a notification that tells him that something is critical. This has gone out over our secure network. It hasn't been mixed with any other email capabilities or gateways. Once again, we have 5 nines reliability, so your success rate on delivery is very, very high. And if we go back quickly and look at the Opsview history, we'll see that we've actually provided feedback that we have successfully notified the crew. And we fed that back into the Opsview system. So that's part of our round-trip alerting. Now let's say we wanted to learn a little bit more about what's going on. Right here, we can have Alex bring up the OnPage Enterprise Console. This is web-based, and I'll just spend a moment to show you what we're looking at here on the layout. This console can be used for a wide variety of activities, including sort of your traditional message dispatching, setting up of all people within your enterprise and the contacts and administering their rights and users. And in addition, down a little bit lower, you'll see that we provide the status of all messages throughout your enterprise, regardless of the different channels that are being used to communicate. Alex, if you'll go over to the left and just click on channels for a moment, I just want to point out the fact that there's a wide variety of ways in which OnPage can communicate to users and how other people can communicate with OnPage, including directly from the dispatcher, through old pager protocols, through telephony, email, mobile to mobile, and many more. Right now we're looking at all of them, and if we look at the first line of the message status, Alex, we'll see that this message that went out today at 9:33:06, it was critical. It was sent out via the API. There were 2 recipients, Alex and Matt, part of a small group on support. And we'll notice we've already got some immediate feedback that 1 was delivered and 1 has failed. And, in fact, 1 has been read. So if we go to the right and click on More, Alex can show you the complete audit trail that is a part of every on-page alert. Here we see at the top the subject, who the sender was. This happened to be the OnPage Web API from Opsview. It gives you the message that was sent, any reply options that may or may not have been built in. This one didn't have any. We didn't have any attachments on this one. And we see that Alex, it was sent to him, it was delivered, and it was read, and all done actually within seconds. And we've noticed that Matt, also on call, we sent but failed, okay? And if we go back out to the dashboard on the console, Alex, you know, one of the reasons that Matt could have failed was that he was not properly logged in. And we have a presence for all users. You can tell whether people are logged into the application and available to receive messages, whether they may have the pager off, or maybe they are completely, the phone is off. And one nice thing about OnPage is that we will keep going after Matt until he comes back online for up to 8 hours, and we will find him and notify him. But the escalation has completed because Alex has responded, okay? So that's very quickly a showing of how OnPage, working with Opsview, can communicate to the right individuals when something critical occurs, allows that person to take it and even respond to it. And for instance, we won't be demonstrating today, Alex from his mobile phone could have replied, said that he's addressed the issue, that would be fed back into the systems, and in addition, he can communicate that to anyone else that is on his OnPage directory or within the call group that was sent. So we have a nice round-trip capability. We've been able to couple together Opsview's ability to generate the proper notification, us to take it and make sure that it reaches the right people and is acted upon in a timely fashion. And so with that, that's our very quick demonstration today of how this works together, and we'll turn it back over to Tom to summarize and then open it up for some questions. Alex, thank you very much.
Not a problem.
That was terrific, guys. Alex and Roger, extremely well done. Roger, can you see the demonstration slide up here now?
I can. It's in a small little window, but I'll expand it here, and my old eyes will do much better. Got it.
Oh, there you go. You are a technologist.
Oh, I am.
All right, I'm going to.
It's a scary thing.
Actually, that was a terrific demonstration, and again, this capability comes up often in our conversations with customers about how do we guarantee the right person has been notified and confirm it and to make sure that a problem gets addressed, because, again, it's very expensive, it doesn't. But today, we covered the high cost of incomplete response to critical IT issues, and really it boils down to that downtime. We talked about downtime, Roger, but really it's reputation. There's a lot of difficult things to quantify in there in terms of the image of the company, the reputation of the company, those sorts of things when downtime occurs. So it's critical. Opsview monitoring, identifying what's broken and why we do that and why customers choose us. OnPage, the cloud-based solution, that round-trip alerting and messaging so that the issue can be resolved. Incident creation to resolution, and then hopefully you enjoyed the demonstration which showed the integration, the audit trail, how the various Opsview monitoring 5.0 works nicely with the OnPage solution. So Roger, did you want to add anything else to this summary? Because we have a few questions we're going to address, which is nice.
Not a whole lot, Tom. I just wanted to reiterate that, you know, the ability of the systems to work together is quite robust, and that there's a lot of capability for users to modify and customize both systems to accomplish some very sophisticated things. And today's presentation and demonstration, just for the purposes of brevity, was to just be very quick, clean, and simple. And so when people want to explore, hopefully this will raise questions in people's minds about, could I do the following? And both companies are very eager to answer those questions.
That's terrific. And so let's jump to the questions. And I have a few. There's some for you and for me, Roger, and probably for our technical teams. But the first one says, I don't know if this is for you or Alex, but it says, while the integration using the API looks very useful, what other ways can I send alerts and messages from OnPage?
That's a good question. We alluded to it briefly in the demonstration when we talked about the different channels, but today we looked primarily at programmatic alerting and messaging from one system to another. And our API will actually allow you to integrate with a wide variety of systems if you want to do it yourself, or you can use out-of-the-box integrations that we built with service desks and telephony systems, etc. But also people use us in a number of other ways, and that is to originate messages. Every OnPage user has a unique OnPage ID and can be reached via a variety of mechanisms there. So you can email someone from any system that has email capability and use the OnPage ID associated with at onpage.com, and that will be picked up by OnPage and routed to people appropriately from our messaging system. You can text people. You can be integrated into telephony systems where the phone tree will say, I would like to send a critical message to someone, and that will route out to OnPage along with any voicemail messages you might have left in the system. And in addition, you can send from the dispatching console that you saw, where you can actually send to anyone that's on the enterprise. So there's a wide variety of ways to communicate to OnPage and have it communicate the receipt of messages.
Terrific. Thank you, Roger.
There are two
Go ahead,
more that I just quickly wanted to mention, that we do support sending via WCTP and SNPP as well as TAP. So those are some additional things we support.
Oh, great. Roger and Alex, thank you for that. There's a question here. It sounds like it's from an Opsview customer today, and it says, how is the release of 5.0 going? And just to give a little background for folks that aren't Opsview users today, we rolled out our latest release 5.0 in October of this past year, so it's been just about 2 months. I'm very pleased to report that we have about a third of our customers now have moved to 5.0, which is terrific. And of course, we integrated with OnPage at the 5.0 level as well. We've had great success. And again, just to add a little color, 5.0 really builds out a brand new user interface, just to making it that much more intuitive, that much more flexible, that much easier to use. 3 clicks, you can find anything. It's contextual navigation, which a lot of customers like. When you start drilling down, you know where you started. So Windows Cascade, if you can picture that, and be able to see wherever you need, where you came from and where you are today, and understand it in context. The Graphing Center, I think, is probably the thing that has gotten the greatest response from all the things that we've done. The Graphing Center just allows a wealth of information to be presented in a very meaningful way over time with great charts and information. It just brings to life the information that we present and capture within Opsview. And then there's a number of other things, but it's working terrific. It's been out there a couple of months, and a lot of customers have moved to it. Okay, I've got another question here. Roger, this one comes your way, and this is about money, Roger. How do you charge for OnPage, and is there any limit to the number of messages I can send?
Yeah, OnPage is a subscription-based system. We charge by the number of active on-page IDs that you're using, people that you want to be able to receive messages. We do not charge for additional supervisors, dispatchers, or managers. You can have as many of those as you'd like. And the number of messages are unlimited, so there's no hidden costs to using OnPage in terms of the number of messages you need to send.
Terrific, thank you. And actually I have another one here for you. Can I use your API to integrate with other apps, other applications we use in-house?
Yes.
Nice answer.
We have a complete integration framework. We actually call it our OnPage Connect To framework, and it allows customers to access our API, provides examples, sample code, a sandbox, and are used by a wide variety of our customers to do integrations with monitoring systems of all types, both IT. You talked about the Internet of Things earlier. People have integrated with alarm systems, water level monitoring systems, telephony systems. So the answer is really, if there is a way that the system can communicate out, if it has an API or some other mechanism for us to hook into, then we can enable it with the best alerting capability on the planet.
Wow, very nice. And this one actually relates back to, I think, the money question. How much does the integration with Opsview cost?
It's free. If you're an OnPage customer and an Opsview customer, the integration is available at no charge.
Terrific. Excellent. You know, there's some questions about where can I get more information and who should I contact and those sorts of things. I guess that's the last grouping of questions here, but I think we'll go right to this slide. And here's a place where you can learn more. It's sales@onpagecorp.com or the website at www.onpage.com, or Roger.Huskins, who you've been listening to today, at onpagecorporation.com, and I'm sure you can involve the technical folks in any questions that come up. And same with Opsview. Yep, Opsview's got the same model here, sales@opsview.com, www.opsview.com, and again, tom.hayes@opsview.com if you have a specific question for me. And again, I can either answer it or get to the right person. So with that, Roger and Alex, we've answered all the questions. I think this was excellent, and thank you very much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you, Tom. And will the recording of this be something that will go out to participants so that they can all look at it at a later time?
Indeed it will. So anybody that participated will get a copy of the recording. Anybody that registered and was unable to attend will get a copy of the recording. Even better yet, Roger, we'll be both posting this recording on our websites and on Opsview.com. This will be under Opsview.com/resources/webinars. So we'll post it there as well. I don't know if you have a particular place you post these, Roger?
They will be posted with links readily viewable from the home page and in our resource section.
Okay, excellent. So yes, good question. All right, well, again, with that, Roger and Alex, thanks very much. Great time with you today.